Hi, my name is Nandish and welcome to our channel. My team and I have been developing games using Unreal Engine for about a year now. It is an amazing game engine behind games like Tekken 8, Borderlands 4, Marvel Rivals, Rocket League, and many more. We have been on an incredible journey, and while we are working on a couple of projects right now, we wanted to build a community of game developers and gamers with whom we can share everything we are learning and hopefully inspire you to pursue your dreams. We have created this course to not only teach the fundamentals of Unreal Engine, but also to give a peek into the process of game development as a whole. In this series, you will be learning how to make a tower defense game with blueprints using Unreal's Paper 2D to make a 2D 3D hybrid game. If you're also interested in learning about how to plan and design games in the pre-production, please check out this video on our channel where I will be going in detail about writing a game design document and project planning. In the part 1 of this tutorial, you will be learning how to start a new project and set up the enemy sprite. Now, if you already installed Unreal Engine, you can skip ahead to this part and start with your first project. But if you don't have it, it's okay, keep watching and we will install it together. Alright, the first thing I want you to do is head over to store.epicgames.com. Here you can download the Epic Games Launcher. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to download it again. And once you have it installed, it will ask you to sign in. I will be using my Google account to sign in, but you can use whatever you want. And once you're signed in, it should look something like this. On the left hand of your screen, you should see Unreal Engine. Click on it, and now on the top right, or maybe on the top left, you should see something that says download or install. I have it already installed, so it says launch for me. You can click on the arrow and select the version of the Unreal Engine. After you select the version, hit download or install and you should be ready to go. You don't need to download any extra plugins or anything. Once you have it installed, you can open it and just start making projects. Alright, now you're ready for your first project. I will let our lead programmer Marcelo take over and he will show you what to do next.
Let's start by creating our new project. Go to Games, Blank, and set it to be a blueprint project, and then give it a name. I'm naming mine Medieval Conquest. Press the Create button, and then wait for your Unreal to create a new project. Inside of our new project, let's start by creating a new level. So let's create a folder for our levels, and then let's come to File, New Level, and create a basic level. And then we save it inside of our levels folder, and let's call it level 1. Save. So now we have our level 1 here, our level 1 map. And now let's create a new folder for a player, and let's create our player pawn. Let's create from a blueprint class pawn, and let's name it BP player pawn. Let's open it and give it a camera component. Compile and save. And then let's add our player pawn in our level. And we can see on its camera here how he's going to be seeing the level. For now, let's make its rotation 0, -50, and 0. And just place it anywhere in the map truly. Doesn't really matter right now. And with that, let's also delete this player start, since we already have the actual player in the map. And one last thing, let's start by adding the auto possess, not in the camera, in the BP player, and auto possess player to player 0. Save. That way, if you try to run our level, we'll be auto-possessing this pawn, which right now doesn't do anything. Then let's start by creating our enemies and have them walking the map. So let's create a new folder, call it enemies. And inside of it, we are going to create a new blueprint class, which will be a child of paper character. And let's call it BP enemy. And this will be the base class that we'll be using for all of our enemy classes. So let's start it by giving it a few variables in here. So the first one I'm going to give it is a HP variable, which is a float, and a money variable, or money drop variable, which will be an integer variable. For now, that will not be used, but let's just have it for now. In case you haven't seen the paper character in your blueprint class creator, go to your plugins in Edit plugins, and search for paper. And make sure that the Paper 2D plugin is active. If it's off, just activate it and you probably will need to restart your engine. Moving on. Now we are going to be downloading the assets so we can start using them first. So go to the Google Drive, the link will be in the description below, and just download the entire folder. After your files have been downloaded, extract them. And inside of it, we are going to go to Sprites, Enemies, and we are going to import all of these to our project. So let's open our content folder, create a new folder called Assets. Inside of it, let's create a new folder called Sprites. And then let's import all of these. After importing them, select all of them, go to Sprite Actions, and apply Paper 2D settings. That will make our sprites look proper in Unreal. And then for now, let's take this goblin and let's extract its sprites. We are going to do it in the grid mode, and we are just going to divide the cell width by 3 and the cell height by 2. That way we have a perfect cut here. And then extract. And then we are going to take these 3 first sprites of the goblin walking, and we are going to create a flipbook, which will be called Goblin 01D1, which is this flipbook of him moving. Let's reduce a little bit the speed of it to, let's say, 8 frames per second, and save. And on our enemies folder, we're going to create a child of BP enemy that will be BP goblin. And BP goblin will have its sprite flipbook set to the goblin flipbook. We can see here's very small. We can make him bigger by setting its scale to be about 4. And then we need to change the capsule size to better correspond to the actual goblin size. Okay, after that's done, you can compile and save, and if we put one goblin on our level, we should be able to see him. That's a goblin. we can see that he's not looking in the same direction that the camera is pointing at. So if we press it, it's kind of hard to see him, and if he moves, it will become pretty much impossible. So in our BP enemy, we are going to take this sprite, and we are going to set the rotation to be -90, 0, 0, -90, and save. Now we can see that our goblin is very visible in our player camera. There are a few more settings for us to do with our sprites before we continue. So the first thing we need to do is go to All, Engine, and Plugins. If you cannot see this Plugins folder, click here on Settings and Show Plugins. Plugins content here, Show Plugin Content. Inside of it, we are going to go to the Paper 2D folder. So here, Paper 2D content, not the C++ classes, the Paper 2D content. And inside of here, we are going to copy this default lit sprite material. When you copied it, go back to your content assets, and let's create a new folder for materials. And inside of here, just paste the material and let's change its name. So rename it to m underscore sprite material. After that, we will be going to our project settings here under edit. And we're going to be changing a few settings. Here in the project settings, there is a lot of settings that you can change. I will not be going through all of them. I will just be going through what we need to change. First being the motion blur. So motion blur, and we want to disable it. The second thing is anti-aliasing. Anti-aliasing, we want to change our anti-aliasing method to be fast approximate anti-aliasing, or approximate, sorry, FXAA. And this last thing we want to change is on our editor, paper to the import. We want to change our lead default masked material to the one that we just created, which is m underscore sprite material. Those are all the changes we want to do inside of here. Now back to our little place here, we want to do some changes to our material. Whenever we open it, we can see this entire thing. Here is the actual material code, the material shader. What we want to do is from this normal, we want to do some changes to it. So the first thing we want to do is to pull from the RGB normal, and we want to multiply. And we want to multiply it from, well, if you press 3 on your keyboard and then click, you create a little color like this, and we want to multiply it here. And for its values, we want it to be 1, 0, and 1. So this little purple here. Okay, so after this multiply, we want to search for a lerp, which is a linear interpolate. We want to put this multiply to A. The RGB from our normal texture, additional texture 0, to B. And for alpha, we want to create a two-sided sign. So we search for two-sided sign. We add it to alpha, and then this result of this lerp goes to our normal here, instead of what this was going to. That's all we want to do inside of this material, so you can save it. And we want to check inside of our asset here, our little goblin, if it's using the proper material now. So we open the paper flipbook, and we can see that it's not using the correct material yet. So we can come here and change it to m_sprite material. There's one more thing. On our normals we want to change. So control click all of the normals and then go to Asset Actions, Edit Selection in Property Matrix. Inside of the Property Matrix, search for Filter and change it to be Nearest. Press to save. So we save all of them, and that's all we want to do inside of here. So you can just close it. So now we can see here our little goblin. He looks a little bit more well defined, but another thing that it does now is if we were to add a light, you see that he interacts with the light a little bit more. So let's say we add a little red light here. Make it a little bit stronger. You can see how he's interacting with it. Which is a pretty nice thing from Unreal. Not that we're going to be using that in this project, but so you can see how it works.
And that is all for part 1. I hope you enjoyed watching it and learned something from it. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below and we will answer them as soon as we can. In the next episode, you will learn how to set up an enemy spawner. So hit like on this video and don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss out on our future uploads. You can also join our Discord and Reddit to meet other aspiring game developers and ask questions regarding this tutorial or game development in general. And follow us on Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.